Welcome back to another edition of Biro Sports Talk. As stated on Facebook, we are doing another attempt at the show tonight. Last night, just time got away from me. I wasn't going to be able to do the second part due to Shark Week and stuff for my wife. Not really her fault, but it just felt better to restart today and actually fully give you a correct show today. Because today, just me, it just made more sense to do it today. So, I left all of you off with the tease of we're going to talk about football. Now, football is a big topic right now. A lot of people are down, I know, in this area because football it's just not happening this year. It's doing something we're not used to per se. Excuse me. Now, I did try sharing the video once again because that's what like to do. I like to share the video, I like to get it out there. And here I am trying to let's get the Twitch chat up because when you're doing multiple platforms, you gotta be able to talk to everybody. There we go. We're live. Got a viewer ready. That's perfect. There we go. There we go. All right. So, I know I've talked about football. I'm going to put that on the back burner for now because, there's a lot of talk about football, about what they're thinking, what they're doing. Biggest thing to talk about right now. I feel like the NBA failed us. And I'm going to tell you why. I do feel like the NBA failed us. How can you have a team go 8-0? First off, they should have never been in the playoffs if they're 8-0 and not making the playoffs. They should have never been in the bubble. They should have been kept out. Problem is they allowed the Suns to be in the bubble. The Suns proved everyone wrong. Everyone wrong. No one would have said the Suns are going 8-0 in the bubble. And yet here they are, 8-0 in the bubble and watching at home because the Blazers and the Grizzlies are doing the playing game. It's just not a fair thing to do, in my opinion. I still think if there's just no shot at all, there's no reason for them to be involved. And I feel it's just as a player, as a person who would like to get into coaching, you watch this team pretty much give it their all. Night in, night out. They go 8-0. I mean, at the start of this, people would say this team has to go 8-0 to even make it. And the Suns were one of those teams. Again, it bothers me because it's almost like it's like, hey, thanks for being a great story. Now go home. You know. Damian Lillard, though, is playing amazing. The Blazers deserve to be here in this play-in game. Honestly, I would say the Grizzlies do not. I really, really believe that. What would make better of this whole situation would be a Suns Grizzlies playing game to play in this playing game. Devin Booker just came to play in the bubble. So it's interesting to think who deserves recognition in the bubble? Who deserves recognition in the league? Who deserves this? Who deserves that? One of the interesting developments is the fact that the Suns went 8-0. The fact that these teams finally have their rankings. Mind you, I don't like that Portland had an extra game. I said that last night. I'm saying it again. I hate that they have an extra game. That's why I think Memphis and Suns should face each other. The winner goes 35 and 39. Then you have your playing game. It's just. It's not fair to those who did well with the circumstances. To go from 26 and 39 to 34 and 39 is great. But let's focus on the reality though now. So in basketball, you got the Bucks will be playing the Magic, the Raptors playing the Nets, the Celtics playing the Sixers, Pacers, Heat. On the other end, you have the Lakers playing the winner of the playing game between the Blazers and the Grizzlies, Clippers playing the Mavericks, Nuggets over Jazz, Thunder, Rockets. Now I say over only because the Nuggets are the 3 seed and the Jazz are the 6 seed. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they're going to win. That's just what I'm saying. So, prediction time. Because what would this be for a sports show without actual predicting? So, first thing first, you have Lakers in the playing game. Let's do the playing game first. I think the Blazers win the playing game. I just do. The world just believes that. Grizzlies, they just been bad. The fact that they're 3-7 in their last 10 is really bad. So Blazers by far. Blazers, Lakers, though, I do think the Lakers win in 7. I think the Blazers give them a nice test. Now, I know Damian is predicting them to upset the Lakers, and the Lakers have not been playing very well. But a lot of the better teams in this bubble haven't been playing well. It's just been a thing. Because the best team's not even going to be in the playoffs. Getting off that high horse. So, if we pick Lakers, got Clippers, Mavericks, you got to go Clippers. I'm sorry. I would like to go Mavericks, but they're like a year or two away from really being in this talk. If you are watching this, I know some people will, some people won't. Go ahead, comment, like, and just let us know you're out there. But moving on, so the 3 seed in the West, you got the Nuggets playing the Jazz. I do think the Nuggets have a very good team. Again, beneficiaries of playing extra games. I really wish the league would have thought of something for this. I really do. And I say that because it's just so uneven. It just doesn't help the situation at all. Because you look at the Nuggets, then you look at the teams at 4 and 5. Nuggets played 2 more games. 2 more games. They all have 27 losses. How fair is that? But as I was saying, you got Nuggets Jazz. I think the Nuggets are a slightly better team, especially with Bol and Michael Porter starting to play. They are just going to get better. Thunder and the Rockets. Now, this is a very, very interesting game. I want to say Thunder, and that's going to sound bad because that's my team, kind of. And let me tell you why I like the Thunder. So, the reason why I do like the Thunder, I loved it when they were KD, Russ, and Harden. I loved it when they were just KD and Russ. I still loved them when they were just Russ and Paul George and Carmelo. The real reason why I like the team in general is because my sister lived out there. She lived out in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So thus I just kind of adopted that as my team then. Now, of course, you see Michael Jordan over here when there's no glare. Right now there's a glare, but there's Michael Jordan there. Of course, I love the Bulls in the 90s. I'm more of a player fan when it comes to basketball, and a lot of people are. So I'm looking at this. I just picked the top 4, which is not necessarily common, but if I had to go, I said Lakers in 7. I think Clippers are more 6. Nuggets are 6. And I think Thunder are 7. If the Thunder win, boy, wouldn't that be amazing? Thunder versus Lakers. Chris Paul, this young nucleus against the Lakers. I think it's still Lakers, though. This time in 6. I don't think the Thunder match up well with them. I just don't. Clippers, Nuggets, though. I do think the Clippers win. The Nuggets are a team to fear in the future, though. I think that's a game 7. I do think the Nuggets get some because of their length, but I do think Kawhi and Paul George play very well in the playoffs. Leading us to Lakers, Clippers. Which team is better? The Lakers just feel like a team of destiny, and I hate saying that because this specific Lakers team I'm not a fan of. Why is that? Probably because of LeBron, but we're not going to go into that right now. So we have the Lakers coming out on our west side. East side, you got the Bucks playing the Magic. I think Bucks win that in 5. I do think the Magic might get one. Raptors, Nets. I think Raptors get it in 5. Again, talented players aren't playing. Raptors have everybody. Raptors one of the better teams in the bubble. Raptors. Celtics, Heat. Celtics, 76ers. For some reason, these two teams love playing each other. But I think Celtics beat the Sixers. Ben Simmons is hurt. That sometimes mean they play better without Simmons, but they're a better team at home. Their home record's by far the best in the league. And bubble play was not necessarily kind to them. So then you're looking at Pacers, Heat. I'm going Pacers, man. Pacers are a scary team when fully loaded. Heat's a good team, but I think they're missing something. And I think an off season together would help. And again, another better team in the last 10 games, the Pacers. Pacers just seem to be decent all the time. So once again, we're going all top 4. that's a little more expected in the East than the West. But so if we're looking at the top four, Bucks, Pacers, got Bucks in six. I do think the Pacers get a couple, but that's about it. Celtics, Raptors, I think it's 7 games. And I'm going to make it the upset. Now, the Raptors are a very good team. Don't get me wrong. Very, very good team. But the Celtics, man, they're just a crazy talented team. And I'm going Celtics. I think they'll realize it's the playoffs and they'll step it up. Celtics, Bucks. It's the Bucks, man. They just, who's going to stop the Bucks? I think it's in 5 games, maybe 6. But I'm going to predict 7. I really do think the Celtics will put it to them, but I think the Bucks win it. Man, the Bucks kind of coasted in this. Looking at the last 10, the Bucks coasted in the bubble. Man, they just coasted. So you get your Lakers, Bucks, 1 seeds facing off against each other. And I have to say the Lakers. I do think it might go 6 or 7 games. I'm going to go predict 7 games. And the reasoning being the Lakers have players. They have guys who are proven, they have guys who are really talented. You look at the Bucks, they're naturally growing their team. They're going to get there and they'll try to be back the following year. Not what I want to do. But yeah. There you have it, the prediction for the bubble playoffs. And now for the long awaited football topics. Now, I did tease a little bit about spring football. That's kind of what college is going. Now, if you are a high school fan in the state of Ohio, there's been a lot of you play 6 games, then it's playoffs. They're trying to make it quicker. 6 games, playoffs. Now, for those in this region would be Crestview Country. You're looking at Crestview playing 3 games. I believe it was Spencerville, Jefferson, and Paulding. And then you have NWC tournament. Now, very crazy to hear. Something that's a little unheard of. But you'll be seeded. Then you'll play 1 game. If you win, you're still up for the NWC title. If you lose, you go into the next loser's bracket. If you lose again, you're in the final bottom half of the bracket, so on and so forth. You play 6 games no matter what in this tournament for the NWC, but you don't play everybody. It's interesting. I really like the idea. I know the MAC is playing 6 games. I know the WBL is going to play 6 games. I like this tournament idea, and we'll have to see how it plays out. It works in this scenario because the NWC do only have 8 football members. Yeah, 8 football members. When most of the WBL, the MAC, you have a lot more members. Very fascinating, though. We won't get rivalries, excuse me, in the traditional sense, so as I've stated on the show before, because I've heard from the head coach of Parkway before, he was preparing for Crestview week 1. Now with all the changes, he's now prepared. I don't remember who they are preparing for. And I hate saying that because I was doing a good job at trying to I was doing a decent job at getting the schedule, so I'm going to pull it up. There we go. That's what I need. No, it was the right one. We'll see how fast it loads. Gotta love the country internet. Gotta love it. Got to love it. All right. Of course, you got your scores for golf. Boom. Football schedules. And I'm going to have to click it, ain't I? Yep, I am. And it's a file, of course. PDF file. So Parkway now prepares for St. John's Week 1 instead of Crestview. For those who are in the Parkway region, it is at St. John's, home against Fort Recovery, at Anna, home against Versailles, at St. Henry, and then home with Minster. I gotta say, to not pull Coldwater and Marion local is very good for Parkway. It's just a matter of fact, and it's a truth. I think Parkway got very lucky there. Now, you don't say that necessarily with anyone in the MAC because any team in the MAC can make playoffs. We've seen it. Fort Recovery. I don't. I think they were really good at football once in a blue moon. St. Henry, of course. Anna. Bremen's been close. Minster, of course, has been there. You look at all these schools in the MAC, and any one, any given season could be very good and become playoff bound. But for Parkway to miss out on two teams that are traditionally state title contenders, I feel like is a very good draw for them. And I do wish them luck this year. I do wish all the local teams good luck this year. But let's talk about college. I know I just spent a few minutes on high school. Let's talk college. College is the big one everyone's worried about. So you got your Big Ten, you got your Pac 12. They took their ball and they're going home and they're going to say, we're going to go to spring. It's very interesting. The problem is the NCAA are highly encouraging spring football. ACC, SEC, Big 12 right now are the three saying we're going to be here. We're going to do this. Telling you though, you gotta take players' time, their health into consideration. One of the big things with the Big Ten and the Pac 12's decision is what do you do with the scouting combine? What do you do with the NFL? NFL, of course, still playing right now. What do you do? You're still playing. What do you do now? Guess switch this over because I think everyone's a little tired of seeing hashtag BiroST. You gotta know who the host is, man. The host with the most is Biro, of course. So, what do I think will happen with college football? I hate to tell everyone this. What about the XFL? Great question, JR. It was bought by The Rock, and they're talking spring football because that's what they are. They are the spring football league. But you have a valid question because parts of the XFL were players who weren't called into the combine. Parts of the XFL are players not signed to a team this year. By moving all this football to spring, honestly, it's just the XFL getting the raw end of the deal. It's I know it's already out of Vince McMahon's hands, but it's kind of like Vince McMahon losing his hair all over again in a hair versus hair match. For those who don't understand that reference, it does involve Donald Trump, but Trump, I believe, chose like Bobby Lashley. I don't remember who Vince McMahon picked, but Bobby Lashley won. So, very nice. Now, JR, I'm guessing you're on face. Ooh, when is the NFL XFL going to make steroids mandatory? Oh man, this is a question that is brought up a lot with some people. So, mandatory steroids. I don't think it's going to be a thing. Now, the XFL has a chance. I don't know what The Rock wants to do with it. I don't know what uh, all these new owners are wanting to do with it. But if they want to be the Blitz the league, I'm all for it, man. Jack them up on steroids, pushing their bones. It's a it's an interesting game. And if you pay attention to the retro side of this Twitch channel, this page is starting to show some of the videos as well. That might be a game that comes up. Check this out too. The lack of knowing what's next is what's causing a lot of this. So, the fact no one knows what's next with COVID, no one knows what's next with the spring league in general, what's next with college basketball. Now, I want to see a kicker kick an 800-yard field goal. Dude, an 800-yard field goal would be insane. Not only because it's 800 yards, that's 8 football fields. And that's not the end zones. That's just the middle. Imagine having a ball get kicked for that far. I see, I see. But if you are on Twitch, let me just tell you, glad you stopped by. I know JR, you're on Facebook. Glad you stopped by. Need to hang out with you sometime. uh, and anyone else who's come by, I know my stats in front of me are off because one says I have one viewer, one in front of me says 0, but yet JR is talking to me, so obviously not accurate. But I thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you next time, whether it's the show on Thursdays or retro gaming. Thank you, and see you next time.